Good morning and very warm welcome to our seminar for potential applicants of Interreg 6A Latvia-Lithuania program 2021 and 2027. Today we will explain you what kind of projects we would like to receive, and my colleagues have worked hard to prepare presentations to explain you how to start to build your project applications. Today we expect more than 200 of you joining our seminar. We will work today for 3 hours, but don't worry, we will have 2 breaks after an hour and after 2 hours. Our interaction today with you will be through slido.com, so you can ask your questions, and my colleagues will test your knowledge also on a quiz. But few rules regarding using Slido. Please keep your questions to the end of the seminar, because maybe your question will be already answered during presentations made by my colleagues. And please vote for questions, because if there will be many questions, we will have time to answer only those that will be the most popular. And secondly, I would like to ask you to invite you actively participate in quizzes, because the winner will be able to receive our beautiful calendar of the program for this year with beautiful photos from photographer Jānis Dēnats. That's it in brief about rules of today's meeting, and now let's try to play with the Slido a little bit. Please, Ivar. Yes, so you can join us on Slido in 2 ways. Either open slido.com on your browser and type hashtag #LatLit, or scan the code and join Slido in this way. And the question for today is, first question, where are you from? Which town are you from? So we would like to hear from you. Where are you watching us? So I see first towns appearing. Liepāja is the most popular. We will go to Liepāja on the 25th of January. We will tell about this later when we will have our thematic seminars. Paņevežis also. Also, I see few places like Riga and Vilnius outside program area, but hopefully you will work to bring benefit to the program area. Wow, we have pretty wide map of Latvia and Lithuania. It's hard for me to say which towns we have more, from Latvia or from Lithuania. Looks to me a little bit more Lithuania more. We have also some smaller places. I am not aware even where is Irbene. Klaipēda. We will come also to Klaipēda. And also to Daugavpils. And we will start our thematic seminars in Jelgava. And we will be also in Annikši, which I see here on the screen. So we have 76 participants mentioning their towns. So I think we have pretty diverse coverage of Latvia and Lithuania from our viewers. That was a short introduction and ice-breaking activity, and now I would like to give floor to my colleague Zanda for a short introduction, not so short, for an introduction of the program.
Good morning, participants. First of all, I would like to join greetings of my colleague Yanis, and on behalf of all our Joint Secretariat of Latvia-Lithuania program team, to warmly welcome you at this webinar devoted to first call of proposals for new Latvia-Lithuania program. Yes, so I guess that first call was launched already more than a month ago, so you are familiar probably already with the requirements of the program, and also got acquainted a bit with the first call for proposals requirements. But I would like to refresh your knowledge and give some facts about the program to put you better in the context of today's event. So what is our program? Our program is aiming at making Latvian and Lithuanian cross-border region as an attractive place for living, studying, working and visiting. The program area covers border regions of all 588 kilometers border between both member states, and to translate it into not 3 regions on Latvian side, those are Kurzeme, Zemgale and Latgale, and on Lithuanian side, Klaipėda, Telšiai, Šiauliai, Panevėžys and Utena regions. This territory, according to statistics, hosts around almost 2 million inhabitants, and area is around 72,000 square kilometers. We saw that we also have participants from Kaunas region from Kaunas city today, but unfortunately this region is no longer included in the program area. The program in total for this programming period has available 29.175 million euros of European Regional and Development Fund money available for joint projects, and we plan to grant this funds in 4 program priorities, for projects in 4 program priorities. The first priority is capacity building and people-to-people cooperation priority, and for this priority more than 4.6 million euros are allocated from ERDF. Mostly we aim that projects in this priority would be so-called soft projects. Therefore, the maximum limitation for project ERDF funds is 250,000 euros. Then the second priority is green, resilient and sustainable development. And in this priority, support is foreseen in 2 directions. The first one is promoting climate change adaptation and risk prevention, And for this priority, we have allocated 6.9 million euros. The second one is enhancing protection and preservation of nature, biodiversity and green infrastructure, and reducing pollution. And here we have allocated 6.6 million euros. In both these directions, intensity of support or let's say maximum project budget from ERDF can be up to 600,000 euros. The third priority is fair and inclusive society with around 5 million euros allocation and with maximum project budget 500,000 euros. And the last but not least is economic and potential of tourism and heritage with 6 million euros and maximum project budget 600,000 euros. And intensity of support from ERDF is up to 80% of co-financing, which means that you will need to contribute at least 20% for each project. And now to a bit wake you up and in the meantime to zoom into what we expect under each priority, we will show you 5 short videos about activities which could be supported under our priorities. Let's have a look.
Priority 1: Capacity building and people-to-people cooperation. The programme aims to help authorities to solve challenges caused by changes of population structure, regional disparities, climate change, environmental effects, and new territorial settings. We expect these results: improved cooperation among public institutions and entities at local and regional level, improved interaction among people and communities of Latvia and Lithuania. Indicative activities: joint solutions and pilot actions for development or improvement of public services, of public administration, education, and healthy lifestyle. People-to-people actions and involving of society for healthy lifestyle, education, and cultural heritage promotion. Capacity building, transferring of good practices, and developing of necessary competences of local and regional authorities. Priority 2: Green, Resilient and Sustainable Development. Specific Objective 2.1: Promoting climate change adaptation and risk prevention and resilience, taking into account ecosystem-based approaches. The programme aims to enhance knowledge of climate impacts and facilitate a holistic and system-based adaptation to the climate change in the cross-border area. We expect these results: enhanced knowledge of climate change impacts, transferred good practices of the adaptation to climate change, strengthened cooperation among emergency services. Indicative activities: ecosystem-based joint management solutions for adaptation and resilience to climate change and disaster risk prevention in cross-border natural sites. Nature-based solutions for protecting and preventing of floods. Joint monitoring to enhance the knowledge on climate change. Cooperation among emergency services to build disaster resilience. Trainings, exchange of experience and practical assessments. Education and awareness raising. Priority 2: Green, Resilient and Sustainable Development. Specific Objective 2.2: Enhancing protection and preservation of nature, biodiversity and green infrastructure, including in urban areas, and reducing all forms of pollution. The programme aims to enhance protection, preservation and restoration of natural capital, protected areas and biodiversity. We expect these results: new common frameworks for smart, joint and sustainable management, preserved and restored biodiversity, the natural capital and protected areas, improved green areas, developed small-scale green infrastructure and nature-based solutions, joint solutions for sustainable water management and new approaches to eliminate or reduce the causes of pollution and set up pollution monitoring systems. Indicative activities, actions for safeguarding, maintaining and restoring of ecosystems, protecting and preserving of cross-border biodiversity and key species, joint solutions for protecting, preserving and restoring of natural capital and cross-border green networks, capacity building activities for organizations and specific target groups that impact quality of the environment, joint solutions for reducing of pollution in shared water bodies, cross-border natural sites and protected areas, joint solutions for preserving of nature capital that is used for recreation, educating and raising awareness of the general public on environmental behaviour and preserving of natural capital. Priority 3. Fair and inclusive society. The programme aims to facilitate the integration of disadvantaged social groups into society and labour market, develop efficient social services, strengthen the capacity and know-how of involved organisations. We expect these results: more inclusive communities, reduced social vulnerability of social groups, developed new services, instruments and solutions, and improved capacities of stakeholders, improved living conditions of people. Indicative activities: developing of integrated services for better integration of vulnerable groups, applying of new approaches, tools and methods to improve and diversify social services, networking, training, exchanging of experience and raising of awareness about available social services, supporting social inclusion to overcome climate-related challenges, developing of the social entrepreneurial ecosystem. Priority 4. Economic potential of tourism and heritage. The programme aims to enhance the role of cultural heritage, nature, involve local communities, use of modern technologies, and to promote ecotourism and social innovations. We expect these results: created and promoted tourism routes, developed new offers that include new or existing small-scale tourism service providers, longer tourists' travels through cross-border tourism routes. Indicative activities: developing of modern cross-border tourism products, measures helping local tourism and culture to develop economically, conserving, preserving and developing of cultural and historical heritage, improving access to valuable nature and environmental objects in a sustainable way, promoting use of sustainable and circular business models, improving of the green and digital skills in the tourist sector, strengthening of the links between cross-border tourism destinations and services within the international tourism networks, joint marketing activities to promote the programme region, developing of the cross-border tourism services for the creative industries, cultural events, active leisure, gastronomy and other.
Well, I hope this was useful and probably made us, encouraged you start thinking about project ideas and some activities. But we would like to pay your attention that when you start designing actual projects and to think about activities, please pay attention that we have also restrictions related to activities which will not be supported by the program. So when you think of project, please visit program manual. On page 10 there is exhaustive list of activities which we will not support. Some of examples are purchase of luxury goods, purchase of not specialized cars, preparation of technical documentation for reconstruction works, political and religious activities, creation, improvement of long-term care services, investments in infrastructure and equipment outside program territory, as well as creation of standalone logos or websites which will not be used in long term after project end. And there are others, so please get familiar with them in the program manual. And my last message from me is, of course, we are very excited and we are very happy about big interest about our program. As Yanis said, we have more than 200 registered participants for today's event. But also we are a bit worried about expected number of applications we might receive. So we would like to give you all possible support to make your work easier and our work nicer to read, good quality, well-designed, well-prepared applications. Therefore, we, after this event, in 2 weeks' time, we will have several person-to-person meetings in different regions of our program territory. So they will be mostly devoted to to themes of our priorities, and also it will be possible to get during these events consultations. So first thematic seminar will be held already in 2 weeks' time, less than 2 weeks' time in Jelgava on 24th January about public services and social inclusion priorities. Next one, 25 January, Liepāja, about tourism. And the last that week, on 26 January, in Klaipēda, about priority 2, both specific objectives under environment priority. The next week, on 31st January, we will go to Šiauliai again with repetition of seminar about tourism priority. On 1st February in Annikšķi, repetition of seminar about priority 1 public services and priority 3 social inclusion. And the last one will be held in Daugavpils on 2nd February about environment priority. So please follow information on our website and register for the events. Find the most convenient place for you. Maybe encourage also to invite your potential partners to come to the same event where you are, to have networking possibilities, and so on. And in one more time, I would like to encourage you to also book individual consultations with our joint secretariat experts. So we will support you when you have any ideas ready. We will support you with our consultation, with some opinion, and try to help you to design the best quality project. Okay, thank you for your attention. I will pass floor to my colleague Rita from Joint Secretariat, and she will tell you about requirements to projects.
Hello, everyone who's watching us. Let me start our presentations by informing about the requirements to the projects. So, on my first slide, you may see that as a question, so what main ingredients should be involved in the project to create the project in a best quality that the program supports. And to answer to this question, maybe not of you can answer to this question right now, but until the end of this presentation, I can be sure that you might answer to this question, and if not, you still may contact Joint Secretariat and express your worries or unclear information. Let's start with the general requirements for the projects, and please pay attention that all projects must meet all these criteria. And first of the criteria is that the project has to be relevant to the program area and has to address the common territorial challenges to all the project partners. And when thinking about the relevance of the project, please also think about the results and how they could be used by other regions of the program area, and or the benefits delivered to outside the local area where these activities will be implemented. The second criteria is that the project must be linked to the program, and when thinking about the project objective, please think and check and link to the program specific objective. As Zanda mentioned, we have 4 priorities, and in which are 5 specific objectives. So all they are described in program manual under each priority. One of the most important thing is the cross-border cooperation, and project must strongly demonstrate the cross-border cooperation, and this cross-border cooperation should bring value added and positive impact to the program area, and also have a long-lasting effect after the end of the project. Also, for the cooperation criteria, at least 3 criteria out of 4 for cooperation criteria must be met, and the joint staffing is optional criteria. Program is interested in supporting projects that have a long-lasting effect in the program areas and in those who benefit from them. So once again, when thinking about creation of the project, think about the possible results, and that the results would be applicable and replicable to the other organizations, regions, or countries. Also, projects must be innovative, and innovativeness should be clearly demonstrated by bringing new knowledge to the regions and or to the project partners. Also, please avoid duplication of the projects or with already implemented or still ongoing projects, but look for the synergies with ongoing, already finished European Union and international projects. As one of the criterion as well is contribution to the wider strategies. So the project must contribute to the wider strategies, European Union, national, regional strategies. And please pay attention that already the program is in line with the European Union strategy for the Baltic Sea region, and the actions to the strategies, policies you may find already under each priority in the program manual, so please check the linkage. And also, projects must contribute to the horizontal principles, and contribution has to be positive or neutral, and keep in mind that projects with a negative contribution won't be selected for funding. The general requirements also, there are some requirements for the partnership, and one of the requirements that partnership must be balanced in the project, and to tackle the program, to tackle the challenges addressed by the territorial questions, and the number of the relevant project partners should be involved in the project, and their involvement should be justified. Each partner should bring its knowledge to the project and a clear contribution, how he will contribute to the project by implementing activities and by achieving planned results. And also, when thinking about the project partners, please pay attention that each partner additionally must allocate sufficient financial, technical, and human resources for good and fluent management implementation of the project. From the management side, I'm not going into details for the project work plan and project budget because these two topics will be covered by my colleagues. Only I just want to point out that the work plan must be clear and logically interconnected, and the budget should be coherent and proportionate to the prepared work plan, project's sub-objectives, outputs, and planned results. So that's all from the project general requirements side. Please pay attention that when filling information in the GEMS Joint Electronic Monitoring System, all the answers to these questions must be provided there. And now let's come to the project partnership part, and let's start that all project partners, all potential project partners must be registered accordingly in Lithuania or in Latvia. Here you also see the register system, links to the registers, and eligible organizations to apply as a project partners are national, regional, local authorities, also public equivalent bodies whose activities are aimed at meeting the public need of society, and also non-governmental organizations, a legal body established for the specific purpose of meeting the need of the general interest and not having an industrial or commercial character. Looking from the territorial perspective, project must involve at least two partners, one from Lithuanian side and one from Latvian side, and also the number of the partners is not limited in the project, but in case project partner is registered outside program area, and as we saw, you already are watching who are already outside the program area, so please pay attention that the partners who are located outside the program area will become participants of the project only in well-justified cases. So, what is needed that the project would work? First of all, you need a relevant number of the project partners, but also someone has to take a lead partner's role. And comparing, despite the responsibilities that each project partner has in the project, lead partner additionally takes overall responsibility of the project development and implementation, and also the lead partner is responsible for communication between project partners and the program management bodies. When the project lead partner is non-governmental organization, there are some financial limitations and requirements which must be followed. So if you are an NGO and you're planning to take a lead partner's role in the project, please check those requirements if you follow them according to the planned total budget. The product work plan must be implemented within the duration which strongly depends on the project objectives. Maximum project duration is 24 months and the duration may be prolonged in exceptional and justified cases. As I mentioned before, each project must contribute to the horizontal principles of the program, and the contribution must be positive or neutral. Joint Secretariat during the assessment process will evaluate if the contribution to the program's horizontal principles, and also Joint Secretary during the assessment process will evaluate the state aid relevance at the level of the activities. But in case you want to check more information, please check the regulations. And also, it's not mandatory, but it is recommended from our side that each project partner who wants to check if a state aid would apply to them or they are relevant for the state aid, please check a state aid self-check module, which is available in GEMS. So that's all from my side about the requirements for the projects. Thank you for your attention. I wish you for innovative ideas and for lasting effects in the program area or above it. And now I give the floor to my colleague Marina, who will introduce you with the intervention logics.
Good morning, everyone who is following us. It's a pleasure to be present today and to provide information about requirements for the first call and how to develop very good projects. So my topic is about program and project intervention logic, and I suppose that this topic or issue might be even difficult or unclear for you, and even frightening. So let's go to slides, and I will show you and explain what it means. So on the first slide, you see the intervention logic of the program and of the projects. To answer on the question, what is the intervention logic and why it is needed, it is a linkage between project-specific objectives, output and results, with the program-specific objectives, output and result indicators. So with the help of project intervention logic, we see whether the funded project will help to the program to achieve program specific objective, defined result and output indicators. So on this scheme, you see that project intervention logic is divided and is present on two levels, on the program level and on the project level. On the program level, the program priority is linked to the program priority specific objective, and the program, by funding certain actions, activities, will achieve a set of program output indicators and program result indicators. These all can be achieved only by means of funded projects, and projects on their turn, by the set of defined activities that are included in the project work plan. So we are looking from the bottom to top. By implementing a set of activities, project deliver project main outputs, achieve project-specific objectives, reach project overall objective, and make a change by achieving of project results. So as you see, everything is interlinked. Project overall objective contributes to program priority specific objective. Project results and outputs directly contribute to program result indicators and program output indicators. That's in short about the logic, but let's go further. When planning your applications, your projects, please remember the main requirement that every project have to address one program priority and specific objective, and at least one program mandatory result indicator and one program mandatory output indicator. It's possible also to set and achieve several outputs and several indicators under the respective specific objectives. But about achievement and planning of results and outputs, I will tell a bit later. Now going to the project intervention logic, the topic that is the most important to you when preparing applications and when thinking about project ideas. The project intervention logic is needed to measure project's contribution to the program. So for us it is important to understand what the project will achieve and whether it will help to the program to achieve its goals and results. Intervention logic also helps to ensure result-oriented approach and to guide through the whole process from the project idea and to actual project outputs. Now let's turn to definitions to understand better what is what and how to plan project objectives and work plan. So on this slide you see the scheme of project intervention logic, and it starts with a project overall objective. It must provide overall context of what is the project is trying to achieve, and it must be linked to the program specific objective. So to give an example, the project overall objective could be to facilitate socio-economic development in A and B municipalities by promoting healthy lifestyle for inhabitants, tourists, and so on. So it doesn't give an intention of project what exactly will be done, but it gives direction where the project is going to and what it is trying to achieve. But the next step and the link of overall objective is to project-specific objectives. So here already you must think and define tangible and measurable statement describing what exactly the project is trying to achieve. So if I refer to my first example of overall objective, so the specific objectives would be healthy lifestyle places developed, like maybe outdoor fitness equipment installed for inhabitants. Then the second specific objective could be develop the methodology for joint trainings outside with this equipment. So from this specific objective you already can understand what will be done in the project. The project main output is a final product of the project that contributes to achievement of the project-specific objectives. Since the program has certain set of program output indicators, the project main outputs that are mandatory, these are institutions cooperating together while implementing the project and while delivering certain results. And project result is a change that should happen after the project is implemented. So again, back to my example, after implementation of projects that is targeted to improvement of health of inhabitants, tourists, then the result would be to achieve increase in, I don't know, in X% of local inhabitants or tourists that use this equipment, fitness trainings, and improve their health. So this is the change. And the project work plan, this is a set of activities, deliverables, what project partners have planned, and by implementing activities and deliverables, the results will be achieved. So by developing the work plan, you are making the core of the project, what will be done. Now let's go even in more details to the structure of work package that is part of the work plan. The work plan is divided in several work packages. We recommend not to have more than 2 or 3 of them. And each work package has a certain structure. So on the first place, it is a project-specific objective. As I already mentioned, some tangible statement, measurable, what will be done. The next step that project partners have to set a communication objective that aims at changes in the project target audience's behavior, knowledge or belief. A bit later in the next slide I also will show you an example. And then comes activities. So activity is a specific task performed for which resources are used, and that result is a deliverable. And each activity must have at least one deliverable. The number is not limited, but the sequence and they should be logically interlinked. And deliverable is a product or service of the project that contributes to the development of project's main output. Again, with the next slide, I will show you an example. And in the work package, you will have to fill in a separate section about investments, giving details about every investment object, like about ownership, technical documentation available, and durability, and how these investment object will be used during the project and after its end. And also you will need to define outputs in the work package. Some recommendations when preparing the work plan. Of course, it is prepared for the whole implementation period, and it must serve as a basis for project implementation, reporting, monitoring, financial control and audit. That's why the work plan has to be prepared very carefully and correctly in order to have as much as possible, like less changes in the project during its implementation, because changes in the work plan, except some deviations, need prior approval of Joint Secretariat, the Managing Authority or Monitoring Committee. As I already mentioned before, the work plan has to be divided in several thematic work packages, but please follow the rule and don't have more than 2 or 3 work packages. If we compare approach to the previous programming period, so now in the application form, you will not find separate work packages for project management, investments or communication. These all content or activities, they have to be integrated in the general work plan, in the work packages. And of course, all project activities should lead to the achievement of the main outputs of the project. Also, some recommendation hints what to think about. When defining project-specific objectives, please make them SMART. They have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-related. Every work package must have a project-specific objectives. You will not be able to submit the application if some work package doesn't have project-specific objective. The activities, they shall include general information on plan-specific tasks, so don't go a lot into details, because the details have to be provided in deliverables, and information provided in description of deliverable has to answer to 5 W's and 1 H. So who will implement what, when, where, why, and how, by which means. And please be reminded that every activity must have at least one deliverable. So now, coming to an examples to make maybe more clear, or for some of you maybe even more complicated, but I hope that my examples will help. So example for intervention logic, how everything is interconnected and interlinked. As I mentioned, the bottom top approach should be used. That's why we go first to the work package, and I will show you what are the activities planned and deliverables and how all these lead to achievement of results. So let's imagine some project and one work package and some activities would be devoted to establishment of some nature trail. And the specific objective would be to development and promotion of nature trail for health improvement. You know, now there are some popular nature values like hiking trails, when people try trails with fit and try different nature materials. Then the communication objective that could be set that to inform society and to promote use of nature trails for health improvement, and within this objective the behavior and that the attitude of the target group could be changed, that more people, like some percentage maybe, can use more these nature values, nature trails. And when we are coming to activity, to specific task, so it is development and promotion of nature trail that in its turn is divided or shall result in 3 deliverables. So first, design the trail must be designed. Partners will develop the concept, choose materials, the place. Then the trail will be constructed, so the product itself will be made, and then the opening event or some public event for this nature trail would be organized to achieve communication objective. I would like to stress that this is a very simple example to show you the logic, and it's not a project, it is just one work package and one example of one activity and some deliverables. Yeah, so don't use it as a example to copy to your application form. No. By set of the activities and deliverables, now we will see how these all will help to achieve specific objectives and overall objective of the project, and then how it contributes to the program level. So work one you already saw. So by implementing of certain activities, the project specific objective, development and promotion of nature trail for health improvement, it is achieved. That in its turn helps to achieve project overall objective to facilitate recognition of some cross-border region as valuable cross-border tourism product for health improvement. Yeah, and this project specific objective is not only one. Yeah, I believe that there should be also some other specific objectives to create cross-border tourism product. And when the overall objective is achieved, the program output indicator also is achieved when two municipalities cooperated together while delivering these project results. They cooperated together across borders. And the change that the project aims to achieve, that is still 2 municipalities, they will continue their cooperation of the project end and will deliver some other results. So the linkage is very evident that the project overall objective, by facilitation of recognition of some cross-border region, it is linked to program-specific objective when the program wants to enhance the role of culture and sustainable tourism. And supported project activities also are interlinked to actions supported from the program side. It could be that they improved access to valuable nature and environmental features. So achieved program specific objective will help to achieve set of result and output indicators about organizations cooperating across borders. As I mentioned before, the program has set of other indicators. This I will explain you already now with the next slide. I also strongly recommend you to check the program manual, sections about intervention logic, about planning of outputs and result indicators, and also annex of the program manual where detailed information is provided. But in short, I can tell that for program priorities 1, 2, and 3, the output indicators and result indicators are the same. Arrows that you see would help to understand the linkage, because these output indicators are directly linked to result indicators. With the red color you see mandatory output indicators and result indicators that must be achieved by each project. So organizations cooperating across borders output indicator is linked to organizations cooperating across borders after project completion, and when selecting output indicator, you can't select any other linked result indicator. It must be like showed on this slide. Yeah, and two other not mandatory, optional, but output indicators that can be achieved by the project. Pilot actions developed jointly and implemented in projects. These can be any joint tools, action plans, anything that is developed within the project and also implemented within duration of the project. This is very important. And the second is jointly developed solutions, also some solutions that partners are working on together. And these two output indicators are interlinked to result indicators, solutions taken up or upscaled by organizations. So it means that within 1 year after project end, partners have possibility to upscale, to transfer, to give to some other organizations, or I don't know, to improve in some other way these pilot actions and jointly developed solutions created within the project. Yeah, and the priority number 4, the set of output and result indicators, is a bit different. So the same organizations cooperating across borders, this output indicator and result indicator is mandatory. And in GEMS, in the application form, you will see also indication in brackets that these indicators are mandatory ones. And the next output is a number of cultural and tourism sites supported. So here please indicate tourism sites where investments were done. Not sites included in brochures or promoted somehow, but exactly investments. And this output indicator is interlinked, directly linked to result indicator visitors of cultural and tourism sites. Because there is a logic. If the investment is done in some tourism site, then why it is done? The change should happen. The visitors of cultural and tourism sites have to increase. Some recommendations to you that organizations cooperating across borders, this output indicator that is mandatory, that the target value usually will be number of project partners, but also it depends on the project. There might be some stakeholders also involved. Technically, please try to specify target values and these partners in one work package in order to avoid duplication of counting of these indicators. And please be reminded that project main output cannot be with value 0 and it cannot be a deliverable. Please think about that. And the difference between previous programming period, that now for achievement of result indicators, the program will ask a report after a year after project end to prove that the result indicator was achieved. That's main information about planning, defining the project's results, objectives. And I would like to stress one more where to find information. Please read carefully the program manual for the first call for proposals. It is available on our webpage, and specifically sections that are related to project intervention logic, so section 4.4, program and project intervention logic, annex 1 about planning of program output and result indicators, and subsection 5.2.2 about quality assessment criteria, because you need to know how we will assess and what we will assess for intervention logic in order to prepare it correctly and in a useful way. But still, if you have any questions, any doubts about outputs, results, because this is complicated thing also for us in Joint Secretariat, please come, call, apply for consultation, and we will help you with the application. As already Zanda mentioned, we are waiting for very qualitative, targeted and interesting projects. Thank you. This is it from my side. Good luck for development of applications. Yeah, just one important information that it appeared that we have time for a break for 5 minutes. Don't go out from our seminar. We are waiting you back. Just have a short rest to refresh yourself and be back.
Welcome back. Hello to everyone. So I'm happy to to welcome you back to our seminar on development of project applications for Latvia-Lithuania program. And in my presentation, I will talk to you how to structure your project management and communication activities. So first of all, talking about project management, you have to describe your project management structure in application section 7C7. And please be aware that there should be no management activities in the project application. Everything has to be described in this section in the GEMS. So please describe how your project will be coordinated, how you will ensure project quality, and how you will ensure financial management, reporting, and budget management within your partnership and on project level. Please be aware that there is a specific application assessment criteria devoted to evaluate how efficient and clear is your project management and management of project budget. And then talking about project communication, so please consider that project communication is not something which stands next to your project activities or it is something which is mandatory, but please look at project communication as something which assists you in reaching project objectives. So if you need for some ideas what activities might be effective, how your communication activities can support reaching your project results, please look for inspiration in other organizations and other projects or maybe some other sources. And then forming your communication objectives, please have in mind that they have to help your target to change beliefs, knowledge, or behavior of your target audiences. And again, there is an assessment criteria, how effective is and appropriate is your project communication, how it will help you to reach your target audiences and stakeholders, and how this project communications helps you to achieve overall objectives of a project. First of all, start with describing your communication approach. Your general communication approach must be described in separate section of a project application. This is section C7.3. And in this section, please answer to such questions. So what is the general approach of your project communication? What target groups and stakeholders you are addressing by your communication messages? What communication strategies you will take, what communication channels you will employ. So if you are employing TV, or if you are using Facebook communication, internet communication, or articles or some other events, so all these communication channels should be explained in your description of communication approach. And also please describe what communication messages you are forming, what you want to tell to your stakeholders and target groups. Another important point in this section is description of how this project communication will be coordinated, so which partners will do what and who is taking responsibility for which activities. And as some tips, please make sure that all partners are actively involved in project communication. So there should be no cases that only one or two partners are doing communication activities, communicating with media, but then other partners are doing only some practical activities of a project. So there should be no such projects. Also, please be aware that your project resources are very limited, so you have to be very effective with your communication. Your communication activities must be well tailored, and you must target those specific groups which are the most needed to achieve project results. And it is totally possible that with your communication activities, you will not address all of the target groups which are indicated in the application. You will address only those who are important for your communication. For example, like if you have some social project and you are developing some social services, so most probably in the application you will have such target groups as clients, social workers, their family members, community members, maybe some politicians. But then depending on the general objective of your project, you will select only those target groups which are needed for your communication. Then forming project communication objectives, you have to be aware that there are several types of communication objectives. So these are belief objectives, so how you want to change attitude of your target group, beliefs of your target group. Maybe next level of involvement which is needed, it's communication objective, how you want to change knowledge of your target audience, and the highest involvement which is needed, so when you want to change people's behavior. And maybe it would be more simple if we start with some hypothetical example. So if your project specific objective is to reduce agricultural pollution in transboundary catchment of Venta and Lielupe rivers, so what could be what changes you want to have in people's beliefs? So most probably you are facing such obstacles as farmers are too skeptical towards such agricultural schemes, and you have to change their attitudes. So your communication objective would be changing of beliefs of farmers so that they would be more friendly towards those environmental schemes, and they would consider them as economically beneficial for them. So they have incentive to apply those schemes. Knowledge. So the next level would be that farmers, you already have positive attitude of your target audiences, but they still don't know how to act. So changing of knowledge would be, so you have to have different setup of communication activities and even project activities, so that you have to provide knowledge to those people, to your target groups, to farmers, how they have to select, which crop rotation schemes they have to select, how they have to act, and so that it would be beneficial for environment and beneficial for them. And the highest involvement is just needed, so the most efforts should be, so if you want to change people behavior, you have to put the most efforts, and your behavioral objective would be changing of people, how people act. And then there's totally different setup of activities is needed for changing of people behavior. Also, as some hint when forming project objectives and communication objectives, I would like to mention that you have clearly to indicate target groups which you are addressing. So in our example, it is farmers and from certain geographical regions. So farmers from Venta and Lielupe catchments. And how this should be laid down in your project work plan. So first, we recommend you to start with developing of project-specific objective, and then you can already define what kind of support, what kind of communication objective is needed for this specific work package. And based on that, you develop your project activities, you write down your project deliverables, and always has to be described in application section C4 work plan. And there are two sections for communication. So one is, in one section, you have to indicate communication objective and target audiences. So if your communication objectives includes this target audience indicated, so you're already close to the result which is needed. And then describe your project activities, and along them describe your communication activities. But please be aware that there should be no such work packages which consist of only of communication activities. So if you end up with having only work package with only communication activities, so there is something wrong with your project intervention logic. So please come back, reconsider your general project objective and project specific objectives which are meant for these work packages. Nevertheless, it is possible that some of your work packages will not have communication activities at all. It is possible, but just for technical reasons, please indicate this in GEMS in this section that you have no communication objective for this specific work package. But don't make a mistake, this project must have at least one communication objective. So if your project does not have any communication objective, such project will not be eligible. Some other tips for startup of a project and planning project communication activities. So project acronym. I believe that this is the first thing which you have to enter about your project when you start your project application. So please spend some time on development your project acronym. It has to be short and easy to remember. So don't use some gibberish abbreviations of the first words of your project title, because you will have to live with this acronym for 2 years when implementing project. Also, this acronym will be integrated in your project logo. The template for logo is provided by the program, and this is the example how your project logo will look like. You will develop it after you start project activities. Also, as my colleagues already mentioned it, that the creation of some individual logos or styles for projects only, they will not be eligible. Also, when you plan your project communication, you please consider that there are some certain publicity activities and deliverables which are mandatory for every project, and you have to acknowledge EU support, and you have to inform public about your project. So please plan such deliverables and activities in your work plan. Such activities, deliverables should appear there, and please also plan sufficient budget for those activities. So some of them are mandatory to every single project, so each project have to maintain its profile on website of the program. Each project partner have to provide information and update and maintain information about the project on their own websites or social media accounts. And also each partner has to display a poster of a project of significant size, not lesser as A3 format, about the projects in their premises. Also, if your physical investments into your organizations, into equipment or infrastructure is more than 100,000 euro, so you have to place durable plaques or billboards next to those investments so that they would be visible to public. Specialized cars must be marked with program logo. And if you organize events, you have to display logo of a program and or EU flag in those events so that all participants would see them. So please plan costs for banners, roll-up banners, or some other displays so that you can use them during your project events. Also, the program, we recommend you to use social media and to provide information about your projects on Facebook accounts, on Instagram, and other media which you are using. And we also recommend you to use stickers to mark the equipment which you purchased from the project. Nevertheless, there are also some costs which are not eligible in your project, and they might be considered as related to the project communication. So first of all, standalone logos and designs only for projects will not be eligible. Exceptions might be such cases when you are developing project results, you are developing new social services or new tourism track, and you need a logo which would be for branding, for marketing of such services, such tourism route. So branding of project results is possible, but not logos of projects which will not be used after the end of a project. Then another thing which I already mentioned, that standalone websites for projects will not be eligible. You will have your project section on program website, and please use it. And novelty in this program period that promotional materials in general, such as souvenirs, giveaways, gadgets, they will not be eligible unless in very exceptional cases, then you can justify that without giving away gadgets to your target audience, you cannot implement your project activities, you cannot reach your project results, you cannot reach out to this target group. So please put such very clear and good justifications in your project application forms if you think that these promotional materials are really needed for survival of your project. And as a summary about project communication, when you complete your project communication description of your project communication activities, please check that your communication approach is very clearly described. There is at least one project communication objective. There are no work packages which consist only out of communication activities, that you have planned sufficient resources to implement mandatory communication activities. You didn't include any production of logos or project websites which would not be eligible. And last and not the least, all project partners must be actively involved in project communication activities, and it should not be led to one or two project partners alone. So we already completed with this block of presentations about how to form project application, how to form your project activities, and now we would like to ask you to join our quiz and to see if you understood our presentations. So now on your screens you should, some link to Slido should appear. So link to Slido should appear. Please scan QR code or enter directly to Slido. Please indicate your username, and let's wait for several minutes while people will connect to Slido. And also, I would like to encourage you to join it, to be more active. And as our colleague Yanis already said, we set up a prize, so winner of each quiz will receive a program calendar with beautiful pictures and of famous Latvian photo artist pictures of Jānis Deimans. And how many people are connected now? So still maybe we should wait a little bit. So still we have 35 participants. And I know that we have much more people connected to our workshop, to our seminar, so please be active and connect. (46, 48, 50, 53. So now we have already almost 60 connected. So maybe we can start, or should we still wait for people to connect? Please be active. Okay, first question. Which organizations are not eligible to apply as a lead partner or project partner? Please select correct answer. Yes, we are out of time, and the correct answer is commercial companies, and most of you have answered correctly that commercial organizations cannot be partners in our projects. So, and we have winner for this quiz, so Gatis Key. Okay, question number 2. Which cooperation criterion is optional? And wait, let's wait. So most of you answered correctly. Joint staffing is optional criteria, but joint development, joint implementation, joint financing are mandatory components of your project cooperation. And please make sure that you have ticked those in application form. Otherwise, your application might be considered as not eligible. And again, we have different winner for this question. Question number 3. What is the maximum number of project partners? And the correct answer is that its maximum number of project partners is not limited. So the project must have at least two project partners, one from Latvia, one from Lithuania. And we also, the program, we recommend not to have more than 5-6 project partners. But in general, number of partners is not limited. Okay, why there is the winner? Question number 4. How the project has to be linked to the program? Please choose the most correct answer. And the correct answer is answer A. The project must contribute to all of those, to program-specific objective, outputs, and result indicators. And still, Vaida is the winner. So she's the fastest and the most correct. Question number 5. Which statement about project communication structure is correct? And the correct answer is B, so there must be at least one communication objective in the project. It is possible, answer number A is correct. It is possible that each project work package includes communication activities, however, it is not mandatory. And also, please be aware that not all target groups which are indicated in your project application must be involved in communication activities. Your communication must be very targeted because you have limited resources. And still, we have the same winner. Question number 6. Project plans to produce souvenirs, mugs with the logo of the project. The mugs will be handed to all participants of the final conference. Which will those costs of the souvenirs be eligible? And most of you answered correctly. Such costs will not be eligible. Unfortunately, the provided description is not detailed enough, and it does not justify that such mugs would be needed specifically for you to reach a specific target group, because participants of the final conferences, you will reach them anyway, and this is not the most effective way to spend project money on production of such souvenirs. So please be aware of justifications in your applications. And the next question. The work plan consists of. Please select correct answer. And the correct is the third answer. So you should limit your application to 2-3 work packages, and there should be no specialized work packages which are devoted for project management, communication, or investment only. And still, Vaida is the fastest and the most correct with her answers. Question number 8. to facilitate socio-economic activity of local inhabitants in X, Y, and Z municipalities, thus contributing to improvement of living conditions in the border region of Latvia and Lithuania. What is it? And the correct answer is this is a project overall objective. So why it is not communication objective? It does not talk about communication at all, so this is logical. It is not project deliverable because this is too broad and it talks about general aims, what we want to do generally in the project. And for project-specific objective, this statement is too broad. So it does not provide, it is not a SMART objective. It does not provide you what will be the tangible results of the work package. So this is the overall project objective. And so we have a new leader, it's Modesta. And question number 9. Which output indicators with linked result indicators are mandatory for every project? And the correct answer is C, and most of you answered it correctly. So as you remember from the last slide of Marina's presentation, each project has to have to contribute to two mandatory, one is mandatory output indicator of a program, which is organizations cooperating across borders, and then to mandatory result indicator, which is organizations cooperating across borders after project completion. So, and now we can see who is the winner. So the final winner of our quiz is Modesta. And so we kindly ask Modesta to write to our program, to me or to my colleague Jānis Vanags, and we will get in contact with you and we will know how to send you this, your prize, this program calendar. And now we can continue with our presentations, and I would like to invite my colleague Gins Pipikis to talk to you about how to formulate your project budget, what you can plan, what costs are eligible or non-eligible.
Budget. A lot of things have changed, but still the same, most of the principles stay the same. So I will try to talk about everything which is important, but I will stress out the things which are different from previous periods. So please be aware. I will start with some very well-known things already. Sound financial management. This is overlying principle which should be applied for planning as well as for implementation. So we expect that all your budget decisions will be based on these three principles stated on the slide, that it will be effective, that it will be aimed to achieve the results, it will be in the best relationship between resources and results involved, as well as will be economical. Another eligibility rules. So its cost should be incurred by project partners. This is very important also for planning. So we have a lot of cases when, for instance, municipality initiates a project, but at the end the implementer is, for instance, cultural house, or youth agency of municipality. So you should understand in the planning stage already which will be the institution which will be paying the bills. And that institution should be the project partner. Another way, there will be some eligibility issues. Costs should be paid out of the bank, so only costs which have been paid out could be eligible, except of course our flat rates, but we will talk about that later on. They should be directly related to the project, and they should be paid out in project duration. So costs before project starting date, I'm sorry, what you're saying, Hans? So people do not see the slides, I'm sorry. Or they see not in full. Yes. Costs should be paid out project duration. So any costs that occur now could not be reported, but there are another ways how these costs could be reimbursed, and you will see it in the next slides. Another important rule is project partners are not allowed to subcontract each other, so you cannot buy services from each other. It also applies for staff members of project partners. There shouldn't be double financing. It means you cannot report costs which already was financed from another sources. And of course, there could not be conflict of interest. Cost sharing is not allowed. On the slide, you can see definition of cost sharing and how it's understood in our program. In-kind costs also is not allowed. What is different from previous programs that in this time there's no question about value-added tax, VAT. So in this case, it's eligible for all the partners. So it makes life much more simpler for partners. And you can plan all costs in full amount, even not independence of your VAT status. Now about budget lines. So budget lines is the old term. We don't use it anymore in our Interreg. Now it's called cost categories. So abbreviation would be CC. So on the slide here you can see our new cost categories. It's staff cost, office administration, travel accommodation. These all three cost categories is considered simplified cost options, as you don't have to report in full amount for most of them, and it's mostly they will be calculated automatically. The rest of cost categories as external expertise, equipment and infrastructure, those are typical cost categories or budget lines where you report costs in full amount, and those first three are calculated on basis of these. We still have preparation costs, but there are no specific cost category for preparation costs. So it should be reported in application form. The amount of preparation costs is much bigger. It's 5,000 euros. So 4,000 euros here there. It could be on the top of your budget. So if you have a limit for priorities, this preparation cost could be more than your amount of your priority limit. It could be split between partners according to your decision. There are two rules in order to receive it, this preparation cost. So you have to click that you apply for them in application form. And also you should apply for reimbursement. It will be paid automatically after receiving the first period report. Aim of this preparation costs are cover costs of preparation of application, for travel. There could be different costs for each of you. Maybe some technical documentation, maybe something else. Overall, it is the same amount for all partners. Not all partners, it's for the same amount for all projects. The next category is staff costs. So there again are significant changes. So we just have two options. So there is a flat rate, which is probably you are familiar from previous programs. So it's the same rules. It's 15% of real costs. And only another option is standard scale unit costs, which is 70 euro per hour. You have two of these options. You have to choose these options right before the submitting of the project. Each partner can choose different option. So lead partner can choose flat rate and partner 2 can choose standard unit scale rate. But the most important thing about it is that you cannot change it. Both of these methods do not require that you prove that the expenditure is paid out. I will talk about a little bit later. There is some documents which could be requested, but generally both of these costs, both of these options are not directly related to the real cost which occur to the partner. This is a reimbursement option as a simplification option. So about flat rate option, it's quite straightforward. So if you choose it, your staff costs will be calculated automatically as 15% of your real costs from budget from cost category 4, 5, and 6. So it's external expertise, equipment, and investment. If you choose it, there is some restrictions. You cannot foresee costs of project management as, for instance, costs for project manager, coordinator, assistants, financial manager in another budget line. No, specifically, it's meant budget cost category external expertise. So also, if your project budget is less than 200,000, this is your only option. You cannot choose another option for the reimbursement of staff costs. Another option is the standard unit cost rate, which is 70 euros. This is permanent. It will be for the all reporting period, not only reporting period, but also all implementation period of the project. So it's fixed. It's the same for everyone. It includes all the taxes. So it could be that in institution you receive more or less, but the reimbursement rate will be 70 euros per hour. During the planning stage, all project applicants should quite precisely state amount of the hours which is planned and justified. There is also some limitations. So limitation is you cannot foresee more than 1,720 hours per year. And also there's limitation for the period, so it's 1/2 of it, it's 860 hours. In case of personnel do not work full time, also pro rata principle should be applied for this limitation. Using standard scale of unit costs also means that only productive hours could be reported. So it means you don't foresee and you don't report costs, hours of holidays, sick leave, or maternity, or anything similar. So only productive hours related to the project implementation. In order to justify cost, you just have to prove your employment for the project partner. So that would be probably work agreement, work contract. In some cases, maybe also some proof of payment, but in sense that national control or financial control will not look at the amounts paid. It's rather they will look at that as a proof of your employment as such. And also, you will be required to submit timesheets, stating how many hours have you worked. One important thing to keep in mind during planning stage, it's a simplification option which you could apply to. We made it specific rules which makes easier reporting, and it's have to be decided already in planning stage of the project. So if you use standard scale of unit cost option, you have to report all hours which you have, all productive hours which you have worked in the project. But there is simplification. If your productive hours are in limits which are stated here on the slide, so for project management duties, lead partner project management duties, 430 hours per reporting period, it's one half shift. Or for for project partner and manager, 284 hours, or for financial manager, 250 hours. Respectively, that would be 1/3 and 1/4 of normal workload. If your planned amounts and reported amounts are in these limits, then you don't have to justify your work hours. It means that you don't have to state what exactly work duties you have implemented. It's enough that you just state the hours. We assume this is normal rate, which we don't question, that program will not question what kind of works are done, because it's clear to implement projects there are some amount of work which always have to be done. If your plan more than these hours, that you should be ready that we will look at description of your productive hours, and also will require proof of delivery of work which is implemented. So these limitations or simplification option are applied for these three specific positions. It's project manager, financial manager, and lead partner project manager. For everything rest, for any another positions which you might need, this simplification option do not apply, and then you have to report all productive hours which you have worked. Next cost category is office administration. So it's also very similar how it was. It's 50% of eligible staff costs. Again, you don't have to justify the actual paid amounts, and it is the standard that it will cover costs of listed here cost positions. So first of all, it's office rent, utilities, office supplies, accounting, also should cover maintenance, cleaning, IT services, costs of internal meetings. This list also indicates what kind of costs you cannot foresee or report in any other cost category. So because this is a flat rate, we're not going to require any receipts or payments for any of your costs, but we assume that all these kinds of costs which are stated here are compensated by this cost category, and therefore we also do not expect that you will foresee any of these costs in any another cost category, as that would be double financing. Next novelty, cost category travel and accommodation. This is also a flat rate. This is quite significant change. It was not available in the previous program. So it works as typical flat rate, 10% of eligible staff costs. It's very similar to the administrative cost category. Same approach, only amount is smaller. Again, we're not going to require proof of payment here, and we expect that by this amount, all your travel cost of employees of your organization will be covered. Therefore, also we expect that any another travel costs will not appear in another cost categories. So it should reimburse your institution's cost for accommodation, daily allowances, cost of meals, and travel itself. Next category, external expertise. So this is the first real cost category, based on real costs, not the real cost category, but based on real costs. You can see the indicative list of services which could be reported and foreseen here. So typically it involves like some kind of surveys, translation services, trainings, maybe some communication services, financial management and costs for specific situations. For Lithuanian partners, it would be financial control. Financial control costs now in this program and in Interreg overall, the name of financial control is changed. It's called national control, but functions is the same. So those are the auditors for Lithuanian partners, and as a Lithuania, this is paid service. So you also should foresee financing for this activity, and this cost category is the place to do it. So we assume that, and we also should assume that all the costs which are foreseen here will be well specified, and they will be based on procurement. Some specific rules which apply to this cost category. So, of course, all works foreseen should be essential to the project and directly related to the project aim and results. So price should be adequate. So we expect that it will be the market price and reflect principles of sound financial management. There are some specific limitations. All external expert costs which are related to cost categories of investment, also in some cases to cost category of equipment, as for instance construction expert, should be foreseen here. So in some cases, if you foresee some building construction, generally that amount should be, construction cost itself should be foreseen in cost category investments, but sometimes these costs also involve some expertise. It could be some very general, like construction experts, or very something specific. In any case, those costs should be excluded from the overall construction costs and included in this cost category. Another limitation, there is limitation for wages and compensation for artists. There are some exceptions, but as a general rule, it's not eligible. The same goes for awards and prizes. Another specific rule, there could be a lot of situations when project travel costs are mixed between the target auditory, for which this project is implemented, or the project staff, which is generally should be covered by cost category travel and accommodation flat rate. But to make life simpler, we made this specific rules that in case, for instance, you have transportation for target auditory and staff member, not to split it, it could be reported here. The principle is the benefit is still the same, and the costs probably do not change much, and therefore it could be foreseen here. This is the only exception. The rest of the staff costs for institution, travel, not staff costs, travel costs of institution employee should be covered by cost category travel flat rate. There's also some specific rules for catering, for lunches and dinners. So to have lunch, to foresee lunch, your event should be at least 6 hours, and if you foresee costs for dinner, it should be at least 2 days event, so it covers only 1 day dinner costs. For planning of these costs, you also should indicate approximate amount of cost per person and amount of the persons. Another novelty in this cost category is that there is a specific limitation of groceries. So in case for some small meetings you plan to purchase groceries in store by yourself, as for instance coffee or milk, cannot be foreseen here and also cannot be reported here. These costs should be covered also by cost category administrative costs and not foreseen under this category. Some other specific rules, this was already mentioned by Inga. This relates to publicity issues. So there are some additional limitations which most likely would apply for this cost category. First of all, it's about promotional materials as gadgets, souvenirs, for instance, cups, pens, t-shirts. Such costs generally are not considered eligible. So there could be some exceptions, but those are very rare cases. Generally, we do not expect these costs. We don't expect these costs stated in this cost category, and we plan not to approve most of them. The same goes for websites and standalone designs of the project. In cases you still consider that your idea would be eligible and needed, please consult with us. So we left some room for specific cases where could be allowed, but overall our approach is that these costs are from concluded experience is not effective, and therefore it's not eligible. Next cost category is cost category equipment. So as it states in its name, so it's foreseen as equipment. Two important things. It should be aimed to the project objective. There should be some cross-border character. So you cannot just fulfill your Christmas wish list. We expect that it correlates with the project aim, idea, and also would be some clear benefit to another party or member state partner organization. So the functionality and quality of equipment should be described in application form. So it could also include some general specifications. Specifications in amount which is rather sufficient for justifying the price or costs of this equipment. So we don't expect that you will write like millimeters or percentages of resistance or something very specific, but rather some general characteristics of equipment. So we could conclude that price is adequate for the planned equipment items. There's also possibility to rent or lease. Those are specific cases, and in those cases then you should provide justification why you think it's the best solution. Here you can see some general list of items which could be listed and foreseen in this cost category. So it's some equipment, office equipment, maybe some furniture, but like laboratory equipment, machines, tools, also some software. There's also possibility to have second-hand equipment, but again, this is rather exception. So first of all, there is specific rules for that. So it's of course it should be cheaper. It cannot be bought already by another structural European money, European fund money, and you should justify why it is more efficient or relevant for your situation. The last cost category is infrastructure of works. So again, there should be some cross-border character. So if you foresee investments, it should be also clearly beneficial for another side. Should be these results should be, how to say, it's fully implemented. So we expect that there will be no partial delivery, and your planned works will be self-sufficient at the end of the project. So typically it's cover all construction works. Whatever is stated in amount, whatever is stated and confirmed in cost estimate. Some specific rules. So main thing, of course, your partner have to be or the owner of the land or the site, or have a long-term rent agreement, which have to be supplied and for us during application stage. Also, the construction document should be at the stage of readiness that it could be implemented right away. So it all should be confirmed with relevant construction authorities, and full set of documentation should be submitted in application stage to us. And it will be evaluated by our external experts, the stage of readiness. And if conclusion is that something else is needed, that that would be a limiting factor for approval of the project. Cost of preparation of technical documentation are not eligible, but generally this cost could be covered from preparation cost if such you already have. I think it could be a good time for a break. We will continue, so let's have a break for 10 minutes and we will continue after these 10 minutes with some general recommendations for budget planning. So we are back. I hope you are too. And we will continue with some suggestions for budget planning. So as you know, so this co-financing rate is changed in this new program. So it's 80%. So this is what reimbursement will be from our side. We reimburse 80% of all your eligible costs, but there is also another possibility. It involves national co-financing. So partners from both countries are potentially eligible for 10% co-financing from the state. So you can, on the slide here, you can see the links to the legislation for Latvian and Lithuanian partners. In both cases, this limitation is 10%. It is increased. It used to be smaller. The procedures are different. In Latvia, it comes mostly as a pre-financing. In Lithuania, it's split. But please get acquainted. This is another possibility to decrease your share of costs for project implementation. One important limitation is that it is not available for activities which are state aid related. Another important thing for budget planning. So reporting periods. So you have to plan that there will be 6-month reporting periods, and after those 6 months, you can report this cost to first to financial control or national control, and then to us. So typical length of the project, I would say it's 24 hours, so there will be 4 reporting periods. Reimbursement rate will be done similar as it is in this program. So as it's stated here, in 3.5 months, we will reimburse 70% of ERDF of eligible costs, and when all questions are clarified, the rest of the payment, 30%, will be transferred to lead partner, and then lead partner transfers back to the project partner. Why it's important for planning stage? It's important for planning your resources. So you should know at what period in time you could expect some reimbursement from program. And as you can see, it cannot be faster than, I would say, 10 months after the start of the project. So there will be 6 months implementation time, and the first payment, if everything goes smooth, it will be in 3.5 months. The full amount, it's like in 5 or 6 months after end of the reporting period. So you have to plan your financing that it will be enough. Do not do this mistake, which is very common for like NGOs, when they plan that they have a specific amount of money and they will turn around many times. In practice, this scheme is not always functional, because this length of this reimbursement could be much longer, and you need maybe financing not for 1 period, but at least for 2. Another important thing is that because we have so many flat rates, you can plan your costs in the reporting periods according to your plans, but our experience shows that implementation is typically slower, especially in the beginning, that not everything works out, some procedures have to be established, so there are some natural delays. But these delays also affect your flat rates. And in case if you choose a flat rate for personal costs, your personal costs will be quite stable. For instance, you pay your project manager 6 months and you have quite significant amount. But in case you have planned to purchase some equipment or to have some services purchased in first period, and during first period you just managed to do procurement and contracting, so the payment for services is not done, it means that also reimbursement for flat rate will be not done. So be aware of this situation and plan your resources accordingly already in this planning stage. That would be the main things for planning. Then there are some overall general recommendations which we noticed which are important and related to the budget. Please respect your budget limits for priorities or specific objectives. This have been reason for rejection of the project. So if your priorities there is a limit, please do not overreach it, because then automatically your project will be rejected. I said it before, but I will remind that preparation costs can go on top of your limits. Having available funding I already mentioned, as we don't have advance payment, so everything is reimbursed. Use market research commercial offers for planned items in cost categories external service and equipment. Use up-to-date estimates, so don't use old ones, which is probably this prices change already on the yearly or annual basis. So if your estimate is 2 years old, it's probably already too old. But it's up to you if you can just be aware of this and do your diligence and check if those prices are still relevant. Plan some costs for mandatory communication elements, so for posters, for stickers, for things like that. Or do not use cents. Please use rounding when you plan your amounts, but rounding could be used in both ways. It's not always rounding up, it could be also rounded down. So if you half of items you round up and half of items you round down, this is, I think, the right approach. Reason for this is, first of all, these cents are not important, and another, it complicates the calculation of co-financing. So please use round numbers. Provide cost breakdowns for some specific activities, especially for some complicated activities, like for events which involve a lot of costs, so your amount could be considered justified. Do not plan costs for another partner. Do not plan costs that you're covering costs of traveling for another partner, or participation costs for events for another partner, or even less some equipment on something similar. Probably there could be much more such recommendations, but we consider these are the main ones. You still will have possibility to ask questions afterwards. And now I think it's time for Nikolai to talk about GEMS.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now it's time to come for final presentation for today. It's about GEMS, Joint Electronic Monitoring System. And I hope it will help you in the process of applying to our first call of proposals. So let's begin. First of all, in order to access it, you need to go to the website, gems.latli.eu, or you can also go to our program website and click on GEMS icon. It's on top right corner of our website. Then you need to click to create a new account and fill in all relevant information. And please use your valid email address, because the system will send you an email, automatic email, that you need to confirm your account. If you cannot find this email, please also check your spam folder, it might go there. We also created guidance for you that will help you for the all scheme for applying to our call. And if you have any questions, you can contact us. Now let's talk in short about work principles. First of all, the application must be prepared in English, although some attachments like technical documentation, it could be in national languages. The mandatory fields in order to save a page are marked with asterisk, and only after you fill in those fields, the pop-up for saving changes will apply. Also, a novelty and difference from EMS is that now applicant can save save the page only when changes are made to the page. Then on the bottom of the screen there will be two buttons to discharge changes or to save changes. And for each input field, there is a limited number of characters, and if you overreach this number of characters, the system will not allow you to save changes to the application. Also, there are trash icons that will allow you to delete items, for example, item of cost or activity or deliverable. And once you submit the application form, all fields are not active, and there is no possibility to revert it back to the applicant in order to make some changes. Now let's look at the application form, how it looks like in GEMS. There are 5 main sections. In the beginning, there is a project overview tab where you can find some general information and also the status of the application. Section A includes information on the identification, where you need to present general information. Section B is for project partners. There you need to include all partners and provide information about them, such as identification, then contacts, motivation, then the partner's budget, co-financing, and state aid. All this information, then it needs to be provided for each partner. The next section is C. It's project description. This is the main section where all the descriptions of the projects will be presented. Then you need to provide overall objective, project relevance and context. You need to describe project partnership, to create your work plan, describe results, and then automatically the time plan will be created when you create a work plan. And also you need to provide description of project management and your long-term plans. Section D will be created automatically when you will fill in all information about budgets for partners. And section E is where you need to add information about if you want to apply for project preparation costs. There you need to add information about project preparation lump sum. Then next steps are project application annexes, where you need to attach documents. Next step is export, where you can just export the application form. And the last one is project privileges. I will describe about it a bit later. Now, main points of attention. First is that it's a difference from EMS that from now on, they shall not specify start and end date, but only duration. And then the system will automatically divide by periods, and you will have just reporting periods. Budget section is located under partner section. It's also a novelty. And please fill in project budget only after you fill in and create work plan. And also, please fill in section co-financing after you created a budget and also planned preparation cost lump sum. For state aid, this section is not mandatory, but if partner believes that they are stated relevant, they could try to fill in this information. And this is not mandatory section, only if partner knows for sure that they have stated relevant activities, they shall fill it in. Next, as my colleagues already reminded that there are now mandatory output and result indicators. Please don't forget to include them. About project privileges, there are possibility to add users to your application, and please add only users that are already registered in the system. There you need to enter their email address, and there are 3 types of privileges. The first one is view, where the user will be able just to see the project application. And others are edit and manage, where quite similar. The user will be able to edit information in the application form and also to even submit the application. However, the difference is that for manage privilege, only privilege section will be open for this user additionally to the edit, and it will be possible for this user to add new users to the application form or to edit their privileges. However, please be aware that application form must be submitted by lead partner user. So we advise you not to give privileges to edit and to manage to other users, just to keep it to a lead partner user. Now, export function, it's available to download application form in PDF file and also to download all budgets in Excel file. The status of application will change only when the project application is submitted, and the status is shown in Project Overview tab. And please be aware that you will see that your application is submitted only in this status, but no email from the system or from Joint Secretariat will be sent. Another novelty that we would like to pay your attention is pre-submission check. It's a mandatory check before submitting the application. It will show, when you run the pre-submission check, it will show you all the requirements in order to submit the application form. When the requirements are fulfilled, they are marked green in this table. If they are not if the requirements are not fulfilled yet, they are marked in red color. So only when all requirements are fulfilled and they are all green, then the submit button will be active to submit project application. And so we understand that this pre-submission check will also require significant time from partners to track to find where they didn't fill in some information. So we advise you to start doing it earlier and to have sufficient time in order to not to be in the case that you are late to submit the application form because of some field is not filled in. And you can run this pre-submission check as many times as you need. There is no limitation. In attachment section, and it is possibility to attach in several places your files. First is application attachments. There we suggest that you attach project confirmation letter. For partners, you shall attach declarations, partner statements, now they are called, and other partner-related documents. And for investment documentation, please attach technical documentation. And if from the file name it's not clear what is this document, please also add a comment describing what is it. Now it's a list of attachments that we made as a checklist for you in order not to forget some documents. Please be aware that also in some cases, not all of those points are relevant for you, so please check carefully. And in the end, in short about the application and selection procedure, please be reminded that the call will end on 29th of March at 5 p.m. And then afterwards, the eligibility and quality assessments will follow. And during the eligibility assessment, Joint Secretariat might ask some missing documentation from you. And then the decision on the funding will be made by the monitoring committee, and it might impose some conditions for the projects. And according to the calculations of Joint Secretariat, the approximate start date of 4 projects could be January 2024. So that's it from my side. I hope this information was a real piece of cake for you, and it was easy for you and understandable. And now we will go to Slido back again. Please register, please log in to it once again, and we will continue with the quiz. Please join. Okay, so far 11 people registered. Please be active. Okay, 21. After this quiz, we will continue with questions and answers session, so please stay for it as well. Okay, all 40 participants. Let's wait for another 10. I just remind you that the code is slido.com/latlit. Okay, almost 50. Okay, the first question. What is the amount of preparation cost lump sum? Okay, and almost all of you answered correctly. It's D, 5,000. And the quickest one was Katrina. Okay, second question. If standard scale of unit cost method is used by partner under cost category 1, which hours must not be reported? And the correct answer is D, all of the above. As my colleague Gins mentioned, that only productive hours shall be reported. And the first one is Margarita. Continue. What supporting documents should be provided for national control in the case of project manager business trip to another project partner institution in another member state? And the correct answer is D. It looks like this question was a tricky one, and we understand because this is a novelty, because the travel costs now will be covered by the flat rate, which doesn't require any supporting documents. And the first one now is Christina. The fourth question. If unit cost method is used by the partner under cost category 1 and project partner have planned and reported 100 hours of project manager in reporting period, what document should be submitted for national control? And the correct answer is A. Timesheets stated worked hours and employment confirmation. By this question, we wanted to show you that and to remind you that if there is now a possibility, if the amount of reported hours for project manager is less than 430, then the simplified timesheets with no detailed information shall be provided. And also, of course, employment confirmation or employment contract shall be provided. Okay, next. Okay, and Indre is now in the lead. And the fifth question, which of the mentioned costs are eligible? And most of you were correct. The VAT costs are now eligible from this programming period. Cost sharing are not allowed. Costs from groceries from shops, from supermarkets are not allowed. And cost for construction experts, they shall be planned under cost category 4, external expertise and services. And Indre is still in the lead. And we continue. What is the correct website for monitoring system? And the correct answer is C. Most of you were correct. And we just wanted to highlight that we will use a new website, not EMS that we used in 2014-2020 period. And also we noticed that some partners tried to register for other programs' websites for GEMS. So please be aware that each program has their website. Okay, and still Indre is in the lead. Seventh question, choose the correct statement for pre-submission check in GEMS. and most of you were correct. The correct answer is B. Pre-submission check doesn't allow you to submit application until all the required input fields are filled in. And Indre is still in the lead. And we continue to the last question. What is the proof that the application is submitted to the program via GEMS? Again, most of you are correct. The status of application in GEMS will change from draft to submitted. It will be visible in Project Overview tab. And please be aware that there will be no automatic email or some notification from GEMS. Thank you. The most correct and the quickest was Indre Jodike, and we will ask Indre to write us to our email, and we will send you a calendar. Thank you to all participants, and now we can move to questions and answers. Okay, now we see the questions. Project will need to be written in English. Yes, a project application form must be filled in English. Only some attachments like technical documentation or some offers from commercial offers could be in national languages. Okay, next. If the budget of the project exceeds the maximum budget set by the program priority, can the project be submitted and be eligible and to cover exceeded cost by the partner itself? If in the GEMS we will see the budget is overreached, then the project will be automatically rejected. However, in this case, we could suggest the partner to include lesser amounts for the most expensive items, if it is a construction works, for example. But it's still, for this question, we advise the partner to contact us and to describe the situation, and then we could suggest and to consult.
So let's continue with the next question, which was asked actually for several times. What percentage of infrastructure could a project application have in order to pass the evaluation criteria? Actually, this is like the most popular question asked, and we would like to say in that there is no certain percentage set in the program manual and in some program rules, because it's not possible to define it, because it's very much depends on the project specifics, on set objectives, project results and outputs. The one we can say that when planning a project, you have to think what product or service you would like to develop that fit the program specific objective and supported activities. And this product or service must be joined in cross-border, and if for that development infrastructure elements are needed, they can be added. But to stress once again that investments shall complement soft activities and shall form one joint product or service. And I would like to advise you, when the project idea is ready with preliminary set of activities, just contact GS, and we can help you to analyze like the proportion or the set of activities, and then we say how we see it, because at this moment we can't say the percentage or any proportions. The next question is about horizontal principles. Is it enough to have neutral contribution to all horizontal principles? Program rules state that negative contribution is not possible. The projects will be rejected. Neutral contribution is possible for projects, but we advise to think how how positively you could contribute and promote following horizontal principles. And especially for projects applying for priority number 2 with environmental impact. So for this project, the contribution must be positive.
Okay, next question is about infrastructure. The same as above. We just invite to consult with us, to come for a consultation and describe in detail your situation and what do you want to make in your project, what activities you plan in your project, and then we will be able to consult to advise you. And about we will jump to the question about social entrepreneurs. Can they take part as a project partner? In this case, it depends on the registration in the registration form of the partner. If they are registered as commercial entities, for example, as SIA, as UAB, then they cannot be partners in our program. However, if their form is, for example, in Lithuania, as VŠI, it's a public institution, then they could be participants. About open registration for event that we mentioned, for example, for tourism priority in Liepāja, we plan to open registration tomorrow.
And the registration will be open for all thematic workshops. We invite you to follow information to register to the workshop you would like to visit. And the next question also was asked several times, how to plan management, investments or communication without having separate work package for that. Should these activities be divided to all work packages? So for management, in this period in GEMS, there is no work package management. There is descriptive part descriptive part C7 in the application form that consists of several input fields, and in descriptive manner you need to provide information how the project management will be ensured. In the work packages, please don't plan any management deliverables or activities like preparation of reports, submission of reports. It is not needed. Regarding working meetings, if they are purely management meetings, also don't place such deliverables, but if they are about thematic of project, then such deliverables must be planned under some particular thematic work package. Regarding investments, the activity has to be planned in the thematic work package, and in the same work package there is a separate sheet or like section where you provide detailed information for every investment object, similarly like it was in EMS. And for communication activities, please plan them under work package, thematic work package, because as you remember, we informed that for each work package you have to set specific objectives, and you need to have at least one communication objective and relevant communication activities or deliverables. Yes. The next question about project partner meetings, it is answered. And next, would such deliverable be appropriate? Organizations with improved capacity. I would say it's not possible to answer yes or no, because we don't see the activities planned and specific objectives defined in the project. So if you have such specific questions, please contact us and provide more information.
Okay, next maybe I can continue. That do we have to select all output indicators options in application? First of all, each project shall select at least one, and there is at least one mandatory indicator that project shall select. However, if a project plans to contribute to another output indicator, they can choose to select another also, but mandatory shall stay for sure. Next question, is it possible to organize a seminar workshop outside the program area? for example, training seminar of project partners in Kaunas. In this case, it is possible to organize some event outside of program territory. However, there shall be a strong justification why, particularly in this place, project plans to have event outside of territory.
And also to add, to justify that the results of this seminar will stay in the program area.
Okay. Next question. Could you advise a Lithuanian resource where a project partner can be found, NGO or social enterprise? No, it is hard, and we are not aware of such resources of list of NGOs or list of social enterprises. However, we advise you to contact the municipality, the administration of municipality in which area you would like to find a partner, and usually they have such kind of lists, but they are not publicly available.
As an additional tool, maybe you also can visit our website, latli.eu. There is section project partners, and also to visit our previous programming period webpage, Latli 2014-20, because there are already implemented projects with registered partners. There are a lot of them, and maybe you will find partners by thematic, by seeing projects that you are supported already.
Okay, next question. Can target group be an example a city youth, or target groups should be specific organizations working in specific groups? In general, city youth could be a target group. However, we advise you to check your activities and which target group they are targeted at. If it's some kind of promotional campaign which targets all city youth, then it could be possible.
The next question is, can there be more institutions cooperating after the project than stated in the application form? I think this question is related to achievement of project result indicator, that is about institutions that are cooperating together after project end. And the answer, yes, there can be more institutions and not only project partners. And as I also mentioned before in my presentation, project will be asked to submit report to justify that the cooperation continued after project end. And in this report, you will specify which institutions exactly cooperated.
Okay, next question. Could you hire someone for workshops or seminars and have subcontractor with them? So, yes, a partner will be able to procure a service provider for example, for workshops and seminars. So it shall be planned in the application form, and such activity shall be planned in the work plan. It's possible, yeah. If modernization of building of emergency services providing institution is eligible infrastructure activity under to one specific objective. In general, yes, it is possible. However, it shall not be the main activity of the project. The project shall be targeted at improving the capacity, and that's why it shall not be the main thing of the project.
And for this question also there was provided an answer from my side about investments. Yeah, when you plan activities, deliverables, think about role of investment in the development of the project main result, main product or service.
Okay, next question. Staff costs, lead partner management 430 hours per reporting. Can these hours be divided to more positions of staff, not only project manager and financier? So maybe to start from the beginning, that 430 hours is like a limit for just project manager, for lead partner, and in this case that no detailed description of activities for project manager shall be provided. So partner can also, no, lead partner can also have more hours, then they need to provide a detailed description of what was done by project manager. And for other stuff, there could be other hours planned in the application form. For example, for financial manager, there is also a limitation of hours for which there is simplified reporting of hours, and for higher hours, then they need to provide more detailed description of work done for financial manager.
The next question is about today's seminar. If slides presented during the seminar are published on the program's website or will be sent to participants by email or after the end of the event. Yes, we will publish all presentations on our webpage, and all registered participants will receive email with notification that the presentations are published. And it will be done today, tomorrow.
Okay, next question. Is it allowed to organize an experience exchange trip to other EU countries? Yes, it is a possible activity, but just remember that all the results of this trip shall be in the to the program area oriented.
The next question is about infrastructure. Are infrastructure costs eligible for social entrepreneurship sub-priority? There is no limitation, or it's not said that infrastructure is not eligible for social entrepreneurship. You can plan, but the approach for planning of infrastructure is the same as for other priorities. Think whether the infrastructure element complements the main project idea and the set of soft activities. And the next question is about thematic seminars. Will thematic seminars in the towns you mentioned be recorded and videos available for those who haven't had the opportunity to present physically? We try our best to organize seminars to reach our potential applicants as much as possible. That's why we repeat thematic workshops in 2 different places. So that's why no recording or some videos from these workshops will be available. Just check places and dates for workshops and try to be present and select the most appropriate place you can visit.
Just also please remind yourself that you could have a chance to meet with your partners during such seminars and to have also networking. Okay, next question.
Can I take?
Yeah.
The next question is the purchase of special equipped service cars eligible for projects under Priority 1. As it was told during the presentation, the first priority is devoted more to people-to-people activities, more to soft activities, and infrastructure is not eligible at all, but purchase of equipment might be eligible, but in very justified cases, and only if equipment is needed for implementation of joint cooperation activities. So think if purchase of this specialized car would be needed for development of some joint product or service or implementation of joint activities. So for Priority 1 equipment, in very rare cases, it will be eligible.
Okay, next question. Is it mandatory for the applicant to be a provider of social service as defined in the relevant national legislation for applying under program Priority 3? No, it's not mandatory in order to apply and to have activities, but it also depends on the activities. For certain construction works and purchase of equipment, there are limitations when partner needs to be a social service provider.
If I may add, please check a list of potentially supported activities, and if a partner would like to improve or to make new social service, then for such activity, the partner must be a social service provider, either to develop service as a soft activity or purchase equipment or make investments for development or improvement of social service, and it is a must.
Okay, next section about gems. In the B15 section, it's not possible to enter email. No, most probably, maybe this partner could send, as this user could send us email with print screen, and then we could investigate what could be the problem. Next question, is there any exceptions about covering 20% of budget? No, as my colleague Jens described that co-financing from state, it's 10% for Latvia and for Lithuania. So I think then what is left for partner to co-finance is just 10%.
The next question, is it possible to have an income from the project, for example, participation fees, etc.? The program's approach is that all developed results within the project time must be free of charge and available for public. But the project partners, when developing their ideas and activities, must think how developed product or service, let's say, for example, about tourism, how some developed product or service will be existing and operating after project end. So after project end, there might be some fees, charges to ensure operation of developed product or service. But within the project duration, results must be free of charge.
Okay, next question. Did I understand correctly that there should not be a work package with only all investments of all partners? Yes, you understand correctly. There shall be no such work packages, investments. They should be a natural like a part of activities in the work plan, in the work package, and they should be a separate outstanding activity.
The next question is about eligibility of partner. Can a project partner be state capital company? The organization performs both state delegated tasks and commercial activity. Actually, to this question, it's not possible to answer now because during eligibility check, we check the partner through publicly available registers, and also if it is questionable if partner is eligible, we ask also to submit documents about establishment of the company where we see the proportion or the tasks that the company has. So for this I would say please contact us again, because it seems that some specific consultation is needed.
Okay, next question. Should the procurement documentation be submitted together with application in order to justify investment expertise costs? We advise you to submit commercial offers that could justify the costs for such investment expertise costs. Also, for investment works, we advise you to provide us up-to-date cost estimates, and they could be the basis for planned costs. Can the partners be from all around Europe? Now we accept partners from Latvia-Lithuania only. Next question, do we need to provide to audit check the expenditures of staff costs in case of flat rate method? The auditors for national control, they will need to verify also staff costs if they get for a check that is on a random basis. It could happen.
And it seems that it is a last question. Can the first work package be about preparation, the second about main activities and implementation, and third one closure, or it is necessary to have specific names for work packages? First of all, I would like to know that preparation and closure work packages are not needed at all, and you should have only thematic work packages that are targeted to implementation of certain activities, and to have titles for them, because then it is more easier for you to monitor the project and for us as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's all for our questions. So we hope that our webinar today was helpful for you, and it will help you to think of your project ideas, to develop them, and to submit successfully to our first call of proposals. And we once again welcome you to our thematic workshops that will be held face-to-face, and also to apply for consultations. They could be online using Teams or Zoom. So we are welcoming you to contact us if you have any questions. And we will see you soon in our thematic seminars. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.